In the meanwhile, before we continue over to our next customer guest, I thought it'd be good to also not only have an internal flashback, but then also have someone externally reviewing with us from an analyst perspective on how things changed over time. And we have a speaker that we love to have in our conferences over and over again, and that's Markus Bause from SERVIEW. Markus, can you hear me?
Hello, yes, I hear you.
That's very good. Welcome on board. Welcome to Digital Workspace World 2020. We've had you on stage last year, the year before. I think it'd be good to have your ideas around the current situation as well, which is why I thought it'd be nice to bring you also in and have a little chat with you. Markus, you as being being a leader of SERVIEW. And being a manager at SERVIEW, you as a training company, you've had probably a hard time over the last several months because you were used to bring people into your premises and hold trainings with them and make sure that they get that content that you as an academy provider send out live. How does that impact your business right now?
Yeah, it was very turbulent times, I would say. But first, I have to say thank you that I can be here, and it's something to be on your events is always a little bit like coming home. So it's always a pleasure to be part of it. Yes, for your question, it is very turbulent times. In the past, especially in these areas where we are providing our business and our trainings and consulting business, there was common that 95% of the business is in classrooms or face-to-face. And this switched in March in the first lockdown from one day to another. Perhaps you remember in Hamburg, it was the first city who stopped all contacts. This switched from one day to another to 95% on virtual channels, virtual platforms. And we was very lucky that we was very good prepared, because 1 or 2 years ago in a strategic meeting we decided that we have to build up virtual channels for our business, and the reason was more risk management. We said there are no really demand for it, but if something is happening which has such a destructive or disruptive situation like we have right now, if something is happening, then it will switch from one day to another, and then we cannot follow it. And that was the reason why we was very good prepared. So our trainings stopped at Monday morning, and 2 hours later it goes on on a virtual platform. But for the customers also, it was a very hard time. There was not so proven to use virtual platforms, and we see that there was a learning process. So right now, we have nearly 100% of our business on virtual ways, and the customers use it right now like it's normal. So that's change, yeah.
That's why we call it a new normal, probably, right? And because it seems like everybody gets used to it and working with it. But one thing, like, interesting fact is, because we do technology that is proven to be compliant with the ITIL framework, and SERVIEW is one of those companies that help us identify on how we could make our software process ITIL in a correct fashion. And with the rollout of ITIL4 that we've been discussing on stage last year, I guess that was a little more difficult because project teams didn't come together like this. And how was acceptance of ITIL4 in that time? Because did it go on or did it stop?
Oh no, it's go on. The demand is much higher than ever before, because everything is happening now. Why the refresh of ITIL have to be done? In the past we see, and the most of the companies, I would say more than 80% of the IT organizations are in an old-fashioned way of working. Traditional operational concepts, more like silos in technical silos, process silos, and so on. And there must be much more flexible ways of working, and that's exactly what ITIL4 has bring in with the new version, and it's more relevant than ever before. And so we see there are much raising demand for, okay, how do I have to change? How do I have to implement change enablement instead of change management and something like that? So yeah, it's really relevant right now. And the companies have a high demand of doing the change now.
That's what you told us last year when we were on stage. The thing that I learned was we were talking a lot more about becoming agile in the things that we do rather than following that strict process, and that there's a conflict even inside that ITIL4 of how flexible do I want to be. And I think that the times like these specifically might request more of the concept of working together in an agile mode rather than following strictly the process, because as people do not sit in that same room any longer, but all have that I'd say responsibility to still do their job and make decisions and drive projects forward. I guess it's more important than ever that they learn how to work agile, and I guess ITIL4 helps in that, does it?
Absolutely. I think we have the development like we have in the software development years before. Software developers also following processes and have to deliver at special times, special features, and so on. Agile does not mean absolutely chaos and everybody can do what they want to do. But we have to learn how we reduce silos. We have to learn how to reduce bureaucracy. We have to make it easier. We have to make it more flexible. We have to more prioritize. We have to see how can we do the correct things fast. And that's all what we can learn from agile ways of working. So in ITIL4, you see that there's an integration of not really new ideas from Scrum, from Kanban, from Lean, and so on. But ITIL4 brings it now very good together. But we have to especially change the mindset, how to deliver our services. And that's a very difficult thing, because in the past, the IT organization was very successful with the traditional ways of working. And now these traditional ways of working is not working anymore. So they have to change the technologies, they have to change the architectures, they have to change the way of collaborate, of communicate, and they have to change the way of how they manage. So that's lots to do.
But that's what Dirk also mentioned in his keynote. He said that 2015, DevOps came up and everybody was talking about DevOps here, DevOps there. But then how much penetration would you see across the customers that come to consult your academy and ask you about the knowledge? Because obviously people want training about it, but does it really arrive at companies?
Yeah, it seems a little bit that DevOps came in too early, I think. It's exactly what you mentioned. Everybody was talking about it. It was one of the top topics in webinars, and so everybody talks about DevOps, but not really a lot of companies use it. When you see, okay, big software-driven companies like Google or something like that, they are working with these concepts. But in the, let me say, normal IT, there we have the classical silos, dev and ops, and a little bit of security and so on. And now the demand is getting much higher to find concepts. How can we implement the flows of activities from the demand to the operational through all the DevOps, security, testing, and so on, getting more and more automated. And so it's a very hot topic. DevOps in combination with dev activities and Agile service management activities based on ITIL4. But we are out of the stage of talking. Now we are coming in the stage of doing.
Okay. Thank you very much, Markus. It was a pleasure having you here, as always. Thank you for taking the time and giving us insights into the market. And if anyone needs some understanding about ITIL4, we could only recommend Markus and his SERVIEW team. Thank you for taking the time, and talk to you soon. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Have a great event.
Thank you.